First brought you this exclusive investigation. Last week, 12 FMPD officers were recommended more than 40 disciplinary actions after a dangerous car chase. Hello, I'm Taylor Wirtz for Russ McCaskey.
And I'm Belinda Post. I'm in for Amanda Hall, rather. Right now, we are learning more about why Fort Myers top cop refused to pursue more than 30 of the recommended actions. Wink Investigates reporter Peter Fleischer broke this story. He has the audio files you'll hear only on Wink.
I obtained hours worth of audio interviews related to this car chase that broke traffic laws and violated department policies. In the interviews, you can hear FMPD leadership explain why they prefer informal punishment versus a written mark that stays on an officer's record. But you can also hear Interim Chief Randall Pepitone incorrectly describe his own department's camera policies and admit he did not formally address policy violations. The car chase occurred December 16, 2022. A Fort Myers police internal investigation shows officers broke traffic laws, potentially putting others in danger, and violated the department's own policies, sometimes outside city jurisdiction, all in the process of making 2 arrests over a stolen truck. But it took nearly 2 months for a complaint to be filed on February 7th of this year. During questioning by FMPD investigators, Interim Chief Randall Pepitone explains the first time a command staff member voiced concerns about the pursuit.
I told him that I wasn't ignoring it, I wasn't covering anything up. I was going to have them go through pursuit training or policy training again, and that, you know, it was going to be handled. Not necessarily by written reprimands, things like that, but by the way I felt that I had the authority to take care of it.
Records show Pepitone did not formally discipline anyone prior to the complaint being filed. Following the investigation, which lasted more than 2 months, 12 FMPD officers were recommended for more than 40 disciplinary actions. Documents show no policy violations appeared serious. No officers were recommended punishment past counseling or policy review. And yet, Pepitone chose not to sustain 31 of the 40 counts he signed off on. During his interview with the department, Pepitone talks about finding alternatives to written discipline.
I always got more out of people if I talked to them and let them know things and kind of like let them know they disappointed me or let me down, instead of writing a counseling or a written reprimand or something like that.
FMPD Captain Victor Medico, who's in charge of the group violence intervention unit that was involved in this car chase, was recommended counseling and policy review for failing to confirm the accuracy and completeness of associated documents and reports. In his FMPD interview audio, Medico details why he approved the pursuit report.
I stayed in constant contact with Interim Chief Pepitone. He agreed with all this stuff. He ultimately approved this, so to be sitting here today after the fact is a little indifferent.
Medico, who was a finalist for the full-time FMPD chief job, has been with the department for more than 20 years. He acknowledged in his interview audio the officers involved in the chase needed more training.
So there was another pursuit not long before this that originally brought up that, hey, these guys may need a little additional training. This is a younger group of officers. We were trying to educate the group and speed up that seasoning.
Pepitone does not mention that other chase in his interview or express concerns about the GVI unit, but he does struggle with the department's mobile video and audio recording equipment policies.
I thought the policy was changed that you didn't have to have it activated until you were actually with the individual.
Pepitone incorrectly claims multiple times that officers don't have to turn on their cameras unless they're with an individual. But according to FMPD Order 25.3, officers must activate their camera at the beginning of an investigation or pursuit. According to paperwork, FMPD officers committed 10 violations related to body cam and in-car cam policies during this car chase. Pepitone did take disciplinary actions in 8 of the instances, signing off on counseling. His interview ends, but a second audio file reveals Pepitone restarted his interview to make one final statement. In it, he admits policy violations did occur, but ultimately defends his handling of the incident.
You know, we're talking about some policy minor, very important, high liability, I get that. But we're not talking about somebody violating somebody's civil rights. We're not talking about somebody using excessive force. We're talking about some policy violations. So I felt that I, within my authority, had the right to handle it this way.
We have requested interviews from FMPD, including with Interim Chief Pepitone and Captain Medico. So far, we haven't heard back. Reporting in downtown Fort Myers, investigative reporter Peter Fleischer, Wink News.